Hey, how's everybody doing today? Hope you all had a great week. And hey, just had an interesting thing happen to me yesterday, and we thought I'd share it with you. And the interesting thing that I had was an interview with a fine young man, 23-year-old young man, and just thought I'd share you a little bit about what we talked about, and hopefully this video could possibly help somebody out there in the same situation. So, and it really has to do with bullying, and obviously that's always been a problem in our schools, and obviously it's a little bit different now than it used to be when I was in school, because people would get in fist fights, but unfortunately these kids are feeling compelled that they need to go out and get revenge, I should say, on their fellow classmates and shoot them and kill them, and it's horrific. And we want to focus on gun laws, and I'm not going to go into yay or nay on gun laws. All I'm saying is that there's kids out there right now that are being bullied, and I think we got to teach our kids to stop bullying kids. I mean, it's a different ballgame, and let's face it, if we teach our kids the importance of not taking advantage of people that have a little bit less security within themselves, then I would think that the result of it would be we would have a little less chance of a young man going out. I say young man because that's all it's been, no women, but it would keep these young men from going out and wanting to shoot their classmates. We're talking about the problem is guns, but the source of the problem is the bullying. These kids have some issues, and whether it be bullying at home with their parents, whether it be bullying at school with their fellow classmates, we got to stop the madness, and we got to educate people. Obviously, we got to educate people because it's just continuing to happen. And I guess this conversation, an interview I had yesterday with this young man, just kind of reminded me of the fact that we got to talk about the source of the problem. The source of the problem is not the gun. The source of the problem is the person behind it that has some serious issues that, in my opinion, based on what I've seen and based on talking to this young man yesterday, could be taken care of, and we wouldn't be talking about guns. So, I'm talking to him, dressed well, presented himself pretty well. You could tell he was a little bit nervous, right? And we're talking a little bit, and so I asked him a couple questions, and a couple of questions I had, if you had a 5-year plan starting from today, what does it look like to you? And it was pretty simple stuff like, well, hey, listen, if I get a job, I just hope I have the same job 5 years from now. Okay, great. What are your goals? And a simple question, right? And he goes, well, really, I don't set any goals. And I go, well, why is that? And he goes, well, because if I set a goal and I don't reach it, then I'll feel like a failure. So, hey, I'm like, you know what? Appreciate your honesty on that. Most people will lie their way through it, but he was being very honest about it, and I appreciated that. So I go, okay, so now you're not setting goals. How's that working out for you? And he goes, well, obviously not too well. Okay. So the definition of insanity is, right, doing the same thing and expecting different results. So something has to change. And he goes, well, to be honest with you, I was bullied in junior high, and it still affects me to this day. And I'm like, okay. And he said, before I got bullied, it was in junior high, before I got bullied, I was an extrovert, very happy kid. And after that happened, I became very introverted. And, it was a bad deal. And to this day, you could tell he's a little bit introverted. So he's wanting to get into sales, which obviously introvert is not a good combination with sales usually, Okay, so, but I appreciate his courage for coming in. And I'm just here to tell you, probably most guys in my situation would have not even given this kid a chance to explain himself. They would have said, hey, listen, this kid, he's a typical millennial. He has no clue. Get him out of here. Let's go on to the next one. But for whatever, I felt compelled to dig in a little bit. And by doing that, we had a very interesting conversation. And in that conversation, I said, well, let me ask you this. These kids, these bullies, right? They've stolen your life for the last 10 years. They've actually taken your life away from you. How much longer the good news is, here's the good news. Good news is you have the choice. It's your choice. It's nobody else's choice. It's your choice to determine whether or not these kids are going to continue to affect your life. And you can choose yay or nay. Thus far, you've chosen, yes, they're going to rule the rest of my life. Now, it's time for you to draw the line in the sand today, at this point, and you need to make the choice that no longer am I going to be held captive to these bullies, right? So I went in a little bit to, when I do goal setting for my trainees, when I'm training, there's 4 categories that I put in training, and the 4 categories that I put is emotional, spiritual, physical, and financial. And the reason I do that is because there's more to sales than just making money, right? And you're going to find that most people out there lack something in one of those 4 categories: emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, or one or more, right? And you look at all the people, the successful people out there, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but too many times people are out there searching for success, and I'm just here to tell you, success is not measurable. You cannot measure it, because what you think success is, somebody else might not think the same thing. And I'm here to tell you, we as a society, okay, measure success based on what how much money we make, how successful our company is. And we all too often are looking for success, and I'm here to tell you, we need to look for fulfillment. When people are fulfilled, 100% fulfilled, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, in their minds, okay, they're successful. And in reality, they are successful. How many times have you seen successful people out there financially set for life? Okay, you see it time and time again. They're set for life. They're an emotional disaster. And so what I tried to convey to this young man is that right now his tank is on empty emotionally because he's allowed people to steal that from him. And hey, I understand it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a tough situation. And so I talked to him about his he said, well, I tried. He said, the problem is I've kept it in. And the reason I've kept it in is I've tried to reach out to my parents, and they really don't talk to me about it. And so I just pretty much will just shut down. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, do you have good parents? He goes, I do have good parents. I go, okay, well, if you have good parents, then I'm sorry, they would want to make sure they talk about it. And maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe they don't know how to handle it. And I'm not judging them. I'm not judging them at all, because obviously he thinks that they're really good parents.
For 34 miles,
so my hat's
continue
off to him.
on I-94
All I'm saying
West.
is that great parents, not good parents, but great parents are going to invest time and make sure that their child gets emotionally fulfilled, so that this young man, who's to say this young man wouldn't have went out at one point in time, killed himself, or decided to kill everybody else? I don't know. But we can't ignore it. Parents cannot ignore the fact their kids got bullied. And if you don't know how to handle it, find somebody that does. This kid's life has been ruined for the last 10 years. And I told him today, okay, you want to be successful, right? He goes, yeah. I said, but are you willing? Are you willing to be successful? Most people want to be successful. Very few are willing to do what it takes to be successful. And what he needs to do is he needs to take a look in the mirror, and he needs to reestablish the value that he brought before he got bullied. And that's very difficult to do because people steal that from you. He's lost his identity. So I told him he needed to sit down. He needed to set goals, emotional, spiritual, physical, and financial goals, and find balance in his life and find out where he's at in his life and where he wants to go. And he's clueless. He does not know. So goal setting is huge, especially in this situation for this young man. For him to determine that and for him to move forward, it's got to happen, right? So, and believe it or not, I'm going to follow up with this young man. And I told him, I said, hey, I can't consider you for this job because you're not ready for it. I'm setting you up for failure if I let you go into this position. What I am going to help you do, okay, is I'm going to help you move forward in your life if I can. But at the end of the day, it's your choice. It's your choice whether or not you're going to move forward and not allow these guys, these bullies, to continue sucking the life out of you, or if you're going to draw the line in the sand and move forward. And I'm just here to tell you, I compared it to building a house, right? When you build a house, what's the very first thing you do when you build a house? When you first build a house, you have to do a blueprint, right? In order for the builder to know what to build, you have to do the blueprint. Once you get the blueprint done, right, the first thing you do with the house is what? You build the foundation. You build the foundation so that way your house, right, stays intact. I said, let me ask you this. If you got the blueprint, which you don't have right now, the blueprint in your life right now, you don't have one. So you need to find out what that blueprint looks like to you moving forward. Once you get that blueprint, right, then you need to establish the foundation. What's your foundation? Whether it be emotional, is it emotional? Is it spiritual? Is it God? Is it physical, financial? Okay. I'm just here to tell you that if you try to build your foundation on financial, good luck. Good luck. But somehow, some way, this young man, just like any of us, all of us are included in this. We need to find balance in our lives, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and financially. And then once he determines that blueprint, what it looks like to him, then he needs to start building things around his life, relationships around his life that will enable him to get where he wants to go. That's what's got to happen. So I just found it very interesting that, with everything that's going on, that, and this kid, listen, I looked at this kid short period into our interview, and I said, listen, me and you met for a reason. And I'm just here to tell you, we did not meet today for a job. We met today because you needed somebody that has no connection to you to let you know, hey, you're not in the right spot. You need to figure it out. And I understand, okay, you young ones that are in your 20s, you think you have your whole life ahead of you. I'm here to tell you right now, you don't. And here's why I say this. Because you that are in high school, okay, in college, I'm here to tell you right now, you are creating a blueprint. You are trying to build that foundation. And I'm just here to tell you, the longer you wait to build that foundation, the longer it takes for you to get where you want to go. And if you don't know where you want to go, I'm sorry, that's a problem, okay? That's on you. You don't have your whole life ahead of you. You in your 20s, build a solid foundation that you can build a life, a great life, a great marriage, great kids, a great career. It's difficult. It's difficult. But I can't tell you how many times in interviews, I cannot tell you how many times in interviews I ask, young people in their 20s, hey, what are you passionate about? I don't know. What are we doing? What is our teachers doing? I'm sorry, I'm not ripping on teachers right now, but why are we not teaching our kids things like, instead of history, okay, or geometry, which I've never used geometry, just so you know, in my job, but it would have been nice if somebody would have told me or asked me, hey, listen, what are you passionate about? What kind of goals do you have? Why do we not have classes like this that actually are going to have an impact, right, on this deal? Why don't we teach about bullying? Why don't we have a class for that, on how not to bully, the effects that it has on kids, right? These are the things that our society ignores. And here's what happens. Here's what happens. Disaster happens. So it is what it is, right? And this young man, when he left, he just said, well, I guess I wasn't expecting an interview like this today. Guess what? Neither was I. And if you know of someone, I'm just saying, just share this video. And the reason I ask you to share it is because there could be one young person out there right now that's struggling through this, and hopefully they hear some of this, okay? And hopefully they can draw the line in the sand and not let people steal their passion for life. That's my hope, okay? And I would like to do some more segments on this and kind of dissect it a little bit, because I feel, let's talk about the source of the problem. The source of the problem behind this gun, okay, is kids inside. They're dying inside, and nobody is helping them. Nobody is listening to them, and that's a problem. So let's talk about it, okay? And maybe, just maybe, not maybe, it will help us avoid these horrific situations that are happening right now. So, hey, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope there's one person out there that has seen this, and I pray that it's affected you in a positive way. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help people. That's what I do for a living. I help people. I help people get where they want to go. And if nobody else is around you listening, hunt me down on Facebook, contact me, message me, and I would love to talk to you. And that's where I'm at. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the little video here. I didn't mean to go off on this long, but it's that important to me. And people are important to me. And our young generation deserves better. We, as a society, right, as an older society, need to be better, give our kids a better opportunity to be fulfilled, right? Not successful. How about I said it myself? Fulfilled, not successful. We're teaching the wrong things in life. Fulfillment, 100% fulfillment guarantees 100% success. 100% success, not a guarantee for fulfillment. Okay, so hey, I really want to dig in on this and do a few segments on it. And again, I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Thanks.